Good morning. It is Tuesday morning. We are still busy. Still busy is
Sorry, we couldn't find Anthony's wallet yesterday. It's on the shelf.
I've spent a day looking for my wallet. And he's losing the plot.
Yep.
Anyhow, it is Tuesday.
Yes.
And the wallet signifies that. Yesterday we spoke about the silent distilleries and bottle number one. Great reaction to it. One of the things that I didn't get to talk about yesterday was this. So this is the actual flight case that the Middleton silent distilleries come in. It's obviously fairly substantial. It's made of heavy wood. But inside there's a foam insert that holds it in place. The bottle's held separately.
Yes.
There's a manual. There's white gloves. There's a few other bits and pieces in it. So it's substantial. So that's with each bottle as well. That's there as well. So if people are storing them away as well. Today we're going to talk about Knappogue Castle. I think it's our first time talking about Knappogue Castle, Kate. We have previously maybe mentioned one or two.
And I'm just going to point out for everybody, I know bugger all, so he's going to do all the talking.
I do all the talking anyhow.
Well, that's true.
This month we have a guy who had a great collection of Knappogue. I think there's a few more dotted around. These were the ones I just grabbed my hands on. But he's now freeing up the bottles and he's freeing up the space and all that sort of stuff. So some of these weren't available in Ireland at all. So Knappogue Castle was Mark Andrews set up. When was it? They bought a castle. He was an American gentleman who bought a castle in County Clare, I think it is. We've been at it, County Clare, and he bought. His initial purchase was some of the old stock from the old Dailies of Tullamore, the old 19. So what we'd know now as the Knappogue Castle 1951. Was legacy whiskey from Dailies of Tullamore, and he had these, and the story goes that he had them in the castle, and then bottled them. And initially they were gifts to family, friends, and to people that he liked. So obviously I wouldn't have got one, but he was giving them out, and then sort of seeing where the market was going, and created a bit of a brand. Recently, Knappogue Castle has been bought by Middleton. So the brand Knappogue Castle was part of the Castle Brands stable of labels and brands that they had, and they were bought out by IDL Pernod Ricard. And so now, going forward, new Knappogue Castle releases will be under the Middleton umbrella.
I didn't realise there was so many different variants.
I didn't realise that, and again, now we've tasted some of them. We've done the tasting in Knappogue Castle itself with the aviators, and we tasted some of these that were airport only exclusives. We tasted the French oak and the Burgundy cask, I believe.
think mine was the Burgundy
one.
The Burgundy.
And there's a Barolo one as well that we've tasted as well, and I see them here as well. Ali in Celtic Whisky Shop, they've had a few special editions for the Knappogue Castle brand. I think that's one of them there, edition 1 and edition 2 of these Moreo de Bartoli, and that's a Marsala cask finish. They're both Marsala cask finish, but I'm jumping all around the place on bottles here, and Sinead's trying to keep up with me on videos. We've a couple here that were done for the American market, exclusively for the American market. So what we know as everybody's talking about the red breast that was done for K&L and all that sort of stuff. There's a K&L one that was done for Knappogue Castle. There's an Astor Wines one that was done for Knappogue Castle. From what?
It was from Knappogue Castle for Astor.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is that not what I said?
No, but doesn't matter.
Okay. Was I rambling? Oh, God knows. I'm always rambling. 12-year-old whiskey as well. Great. I think they were really at the fore of finishing whiskies. I mean, they've done them, as I say. You've got some in the Burgundy casks here. They were doing wine finishes before anybody was really doing wine finishes. What we'd know as modern wine finishes. Here's one that I hadn't seen before, and I was really taken aback by it. So that's a 15-year-old using single malt stock from what was it, 1991, 92, 93 or something like that.
Yeah.
Or I can't count, 94, whatever it was. The maths I'm not very great at today. But bottled in 2007. There's only 600 of them done. They were American only release. There were 750ml bottles. Knappogue have always had this, shall we call it rustic, without the fear of offending anybody? The presentation with the stamp on the sides and the wood and all that sort of stuff. I mean,
I wouldn't say rustic, crafty.
It ain't no silent distillery.
No.
But
it's still nice.
Yeah, no, they're gorgeous, and I do like the ones. There's again the newer finishes that were done for the airport and that. They're like that. Other single malts that was done. So there's a 93, 94, and 95 single malt whiskey. They were one of the few brands that had single malt whiskey. I mean, it was other than Cooley. I mean, again, don't forget we'd nobody making single malt whiskey, so they were one of the few brands that was actually out there with
an Irish single malt.
An Irish single malt per se.
A premium nearly, because the name alone would be in world sales.
Which Knappogue?
Knappogue.
Yeah. You say Knappogue, I say Knappogue. How is it?
I don't know. We'll have to do the poll.
Have to do a poll. They've also got the 21-year-old, and the 21-year-old as well as in has a year on it. So that was one of the few ones as well that had a year, an annual release as well. So again, you had like the single malt in 93, 94, 95.
Yeah.
These had the year on them as well. It also, I mean, for clarity's sake, it also had the cask, the barrel numbers that were vatted to make the year's release. So this is the newer presentation that Knappogue have done, or Knappogue. Swing the bottle round. Gorgeous whiskey. I've always rated it highly. Yeah. It is sourced. Obviously, they didn't have their own distillery. They did have a supply agreement with Middleton at one stage, and obviously still do now, seeing as they're owned by Middleton. Yeah. But
their finishes were always lovely.
So that's Knappogue Castle. One of the ones that we don't have here, and I don't know if it's here or not, is the 1951. And again, it's one of the oldest.
Don't have one for auction.
Do we not? No. It's one of the oldest age statement whiskies easily available.
Yeah.
You've got the 1964 and all that sort of stuff from
Middleton,
Dungorney and that.
Yeah.
But the 1951 was one of the oldest age statements that we had of it, and it was a very cheap price
at the time.
I mean, really was. One of the curiosities of the 1951 is that all the presentation boxes are different.
Yeah, I was going to say that they're all different.
They were released at different times, so I think it was whoever was doing the presentation box this time and done a clatter of them, made it up, sold it, and then we need another few of them to go to market and all that sort of stuff. So some of them
have dodgy catches. And
some of them really dodgy catches. Yeah, I've nearly dropped one or two of them. Yeah. And then some of them are nearly like the Tyrconnell, like the Tyrconnell presentation as well. So there's a great range in them. I just think that it doesn't get enough love for what it is. I mean, anybody who's tasted the 21 will really, really rate it. I mean, it holds its own with the likes of the Bushmills 21 and other age statement Irish whiskies. The 12s have always been great value for money, great bang for the buck. And I think now they've really become collectible twofold. One is that they've got an age statement series that you've got a year as an annual release. Yeah. But two, now that Middleton have bought them out, what's going to happen with the brand going forward? Are they going to continue all of these multitude of releases? We know one of the obstacles that Middleton are facing is age stock. So have they got the age stocks to be able to allocate to an annual release going forward, or an aged release going forward? Are we ever likely to see more of the 1951? I mean, again, was there more barrels left over?
Yeah. Or is it just going to be just a standard in their stable where it could be just a blend even? Yeah.
So we don't know, and that will be one of the interesting things. So I think it's a rare opportunity in this month's auction to be able to snap up a few bottles there. One for drinking. I mean, look, I'd be happy sitting down with any one of them. But two, just as a collectability thing. So I think it's definitely one of the things to keep your eye open. Don't forget, we still have them up here. I mean, I'm doe-eyed looking at them. I mean, I really am doe-eyed looking at them. They're phenomenal. They're just absolutely phenomenal. But yeah, I can't stand down here all day looking at them and standing guard to keep people away from the place as well. But
you're apparently supposed to be working.
Yes, I do have to do a bit of work today as well. So that's it. We will be back tomorrow, and we will talk about. I'd say it will be non-Irish tomorrow, if I'm guessing right. It'll either be a combination of Japanese and Scotch, or Scotch only. I don't know.
Or American and Japanese.
American and Japanese. There is a fair few of the Single Malt Society bottlings, so I want to talk about them because they are, I think, still undervalued in that.
Yeah, and another thing, just before we go, just want to wish all you lovely ladies out there in the whiskey world happy International Women's Day.
You bet me to it, and I was going to say something on that. I mean, the recent survey, one of the things that we done with our recent survey was we asked, are you male or female? And I was shocked but not surprised, I think is the answer, on the huge amount of men that are in the whiskey community, that are you know, the drinkers of whiskey and all that. And I mean, for years, I suppose, women didn't drink whiskey. But they're now coming to the fore. I think that you've got a better palate than me. I'll say that out loud. I think women possibly would have a more deft touch at being able to pull flavours and that. You've done it on a few occasions. We've been out and you'll do a blind taste and you'll identify not only the whiskey but years and stuff like that, or the finishes. And you've been very good at that.
It's just dumb luck.
It's just dumb luck. I don't think it's dumb luck, Kitty. I think that women are now coming to the fore in Irish whiskey, and it's applauded and welcomed, and we will always do whatever we can. I mean, that's why you stand beside me, because we are a partnership. Me and you have done what we've done, so it is fantastic that is more and more women getting to it. My figure was, I think it was 88% of our survey, people that completed our survey, were male.
Yeah.
And that's huge, but I think it needs to change as well. I think we need to get more women involved in whiskey, more women running the businesses. I mean, you've got some fantastic women who are leading the charge. You have Rosie, our good pal Rosie Goswell in Tua. You've got Louise and Gigi Curry. You've got Laurie in Row & Co. You've got, my name's gone, for now taking over as the Master Blender from Helen, who retired. I mean, there's lots of brilliant women in whiskey, and look, we applaud them today. We should applaud them every day. I love you every day, Katie.
Yeah.
I don't just love you today.
Yeah. Show it with flowers, mate.
I get the flowers when you're dead.
See, that's what I get. I'll get plenty of them when I'm not here.
Yeah.
Won't I, babe?
There you go. Yeah. Exactly.
Happy International Women's Day, people.
Bye. Talk to you tomorrow.